Hello, hello, hello. I'm Erica Lynn, better known as Erica Lynn Speaks.
If I can think about it for a second, learn to live life for the better. I had hard times, got a life coach for depression, got a life coach for depression. Now it's all mine, living days full of hard times. Ekalin, work on your mind, let's get on your grind. Working on the feelings inside, Ekalin got me on the rise.
Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, yeah, yeah. Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, alright. Looking up when I fell on hard times. Hard times, they changed my mind. Got my head up, looking to the sky. Miss Lynn, she changed my life. Looking up when I fell on hard times. With her unique design. Got my head up, looking to the sky.
Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin speaks, yeah, yeah. Ekalin speaks, so the Ekalin.
Hello, hello, hello. This is your girl, Erica Lynn, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Erica Lynn Speaks podcast. Y'all know we like to play big or go home. I ain't gonna keep telling y'all that. When I say play big, I mean it's time to play big in your own life. Do what's best for you. Get 2022 started. We're not gonna wait until June and you say, "Oh, I should have did something in January." Right now is the start of the year. So by the time we meet again in June, I want to hear all the success stories because you decided to play big in your life. Just like my next guest. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I am super, super excited because I have a celebrity on my show today, y'all. She is just a glam. I love her. I mean, okay, it's not every day that you get a radio show host on your podcast. Okay, I said that mean I must be doing something right. Okay. Well, anyway, you guys, we are focusing on gratitude for the whole month of January. I mean, there's so many different levels to where you can show gratitude. You know, I'm thankful for waking up in the morning. I'm thankful for being able to go to bed on time at night. I'm thankful for the people that God has placed in my life that not only have added to my life, but took me to a whole nother level. And when I had an opportunity to meet my guest, just her mere presence, the sound of her voice, her photos, I'm telling you, they took me to another level because I had an opportunity to experience greatness and gratitude that she does what she does to the level that she does and to the best of her ability. So I want you guys to join me and welcome Monica Morgan. She's a high profile brand and event photographer. And not only that, you guys, she is a talk show host. So welcome, Monica. How are
Well,
you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on Erica Lynn Speaks podcast today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You look like you was in the newsroom. I need to be where you at. Okay. I gotta You look awesome. You look awesome. And so I have to tell you about the podcast. I allow the viewers to jump in. They write questions, they comments, because they learn a lot from the guests that come on this show. So I hope you're okay with the questions and answers coming from the guests today.
I am. Yes.
That's wonderful. So I want all of you viewers to make sure that you share this podcast with everybody in your timeline. Text them, beep them, whatever, tweet them to say, "Hey, Erica Lynn Speaks podcast is on and they need to be here." So, and we have Martha. She says, "Hello, Erica. I'm looking forward to the message." She had called me, Monica, before the podcast and said, "I love Monica." So everybody knows who you are, Monica. So
Hi,
let's
Martha.
So, Monica, now I know and the world knows that you are an awesome photojournalist. But can you tell us a little bit how you got started in journalism?
I actually fell into photography. I didn't know it was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an actress. My mother said, "I am not feeding you for the rest of your life. You're going to have to do something else." And since I like to eat, that terrified me. So I decided I'll be a writer. My mother said, William Shakespeare was discovered 100 years after his death. You have to do something else. So I ended up going into communications and I figured I'd figure it out. Well, I got a job in public relations working for the Detroit Public Schools Adult Education Department, promoting all of their classes and programs. And then I left there and went to Domino's Pizza. I promoted the classic car collection, Al Kaline, a famous baseball Hall of Famer, and the Pizza Ponies. So I
Okay.
started doing PR, loving it, but I realized that photographers, they would come in, do their job, and go. And
Mm-hmm.
I started to say, that's what I want to do, to be able to just go in, do my job, and leave. And so
Mm-hmm.
I started while I was working for someone else to build my photography business. Now, my grandfather was a photographer on the side, but I used to assist him, and I never thought that was something that I wanted to do. So as I started to do more of it, I got better at it and realized it was a gift from God.
Wow. So photography is something that you discovered a little bit later on in life. It's not a niche that just came to you when you just jumped out here as a teenager or a young adult, right?
Some people say they remember me in high school with the camera. It wasn't me. I did not discover photography until after I graduated college, got my job. They said I had to be able to take photographs, and I used my theatrical skills. Okay, right there, that angle, this is that. And I pretended my way through it.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, an adult ed teacher told me I was the worst student in the class. I went in as a student. She didn't know I was the PR person, and she
Mm,
told me I couldn't focus and I needed to go out in the hall and learn. So
mm.
I went out in the hall, but I realized I wasn't going back to that class. I was going to teach myself, and that's what happened. I taught myself and learned how to be a better photographer who knew how to focus.
Wow. Now that's good because so many people in life, like we have a vision, they have a dream, but when they step out there and maybe they tap their toe into their vision or tap their toe into their dream, they're not good at it. But as you said, you had a love for it. So even though he told you you weren't that good, you still developed your skills. You went back and honed in and got better and better. So when you came out here, now the world knows who Monica Morgan is.
It was a difficult journey being a woman
Okay.
30 years ago with a camera.
Okay. And
But
how so?
I just believe that God, well, I know that God was with me and he said, I got this and I got you. And
Hmm.
so oftentimes I go to an event, I might get pushed, I might get put in the back, I might be told, oh, you can't shoot this. And just one thing after another, but I continue to move forward, to have faith within my abilities and the gift that I realized God had given me.
Wow, no, that's amazing. That is a very great key point for someone who's listening. You may not be good or great at something when you first started, but through time, trial, and error, you just get better and better, especially if you become persistent. And would they say, when you go for an opportunity, like say you're going after 30 opportunities, 29 people might close the door in your face. But if you keep going, that one door might open. And so you can have that opportunity that you have been looking for. And that, Monica, speaks volumes to so many people that's listening to your story, that you didn't quit. You didn't give up. You just kept going.
Erica, that is true. It was not always easy, but I realized that it was something that I was supposed to do. And
Okay.
so I ended up getting into the right places with I have no idea how I got into some of the places that I got into, except I acted as if I belonged and I was able to crash events.
Okay.
So that worked. I got into Nelson Mandela's inaugurations, private reception before he was sworn in. I've gotten into concerts and just the White House in South Africa and private rooms and places with high profile people, legends, icons. It was just God guiding me, saying, I've got you in this, believe in yourself, work at it, get better at it each day, and you can do it. And I just say that to anyone, whatever your dream is, run towards it. Don't give up. Don't let the negative voices, the negative noises, the what ifs in your head take over. Believe and move forward.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Because somebody that's listening to this podcast right now, or will listen to this podcast on a replay in the future, They need to know this. They need to hear this. Believe in yourself.
Mhm.
Believe in yourself. Somebody else might not believe in you. So what? Who cares what they say or what they think?
Right.
Believe in you and your abilities because God put you here for a reason. Everybody has a purpose, and it is up to you to discover what your purpose is.
So
Like
true.
Monica got an awesome purpose in taking photographs. So you don't just take photographs so people can just look good on the photographs. Your photographs tell stories. Can you tell us of one photograph that you took that told an awesome story?
Well, it was 1994. I was outside on the streets of Johannesburg photographing people who were registering to vote for the first R-race elections. I heard a noise and then a succession of noises. I thought someone was shooting at me, at us, and there were people who were registering to vote. I was taking photographs of them. So I ran to take cover. I saw an open van door and I went behind it. I realized, though, it wasn't gunfire, it was a bomb. And I did what any other person would do. I ran, but I ran towards it. It's like running towards your dream. Now, I'm not advocating running towards a bomb, but I do advocate running towards your dream. And so my images ran all over the world on the front pages of newspapers. And it was an image of a woman whose face was covered in blood. She was wrapped in a towel and she was searching for her child.
Mm. Wow. And how, like, it's, I know it's hard, but how do you take a photo of something so tumultuous and still like do your job? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you not take the camera down? Like, oh my God, I want to help her, but honestly be able to actually stand there and do what you do?
It was not easy. Not easy at all. As a matter of fact, I also encountered another woman in a like an alcove, and she was bleeding profusely, and I had the camera, and I felt guilty even aiming it towards her. And she looked down at my camera, she looked at me, and her eyes said, "It's okay." And I was so glad to know that she was all right the next day because I saw her on the news being interviewed. So I have to detach myself from this situation. There were people who were there coming to help everyone. All different races were reaching out for assistance. And so my job was to document it. My job was to tell the story so that people would know South Africans died for a right that many people take for granted. There was nothing I could do. And if there was something I could do, I definitely would have laid the camera down.
Yeah, yeah, I know you would. I know you would. But I know it has to also be hard, as you said, to take photos and not like put the camera down and help. That's why I always wonder about photographers and videographers. Like, how are you able to even stomach some of the things that you see? Like, you are a pretty strong woman, Monica. You know, did that come? Did the strength come from time of taking photos, or you just naturally strong stomach wise to be able to take photos and see some of the things that you have seen?
I was raised by strong women, my grandmother and my mother. And I don't know how to be weak. I
Okay.
kind of I excel in stressful situations. And so I've been to 9/11 and I've covered Katrina. I've gone into some war zones. And so it's just something that they instilled in me. And that's just to do the best at whatever you set out to do. And so if I'm there to tell a story, I'm going to do that. And right before I made the decision to run towards the bomb, my grandmother had placed a cross around my throat and said, "Go with God." And I touched that cross. I said to God, "Okay, this is it." And I asked him to guide me to do the right thing, and I took those photos.
Wow, wow. So in being in South Africa, so you know I gotta ask you, did you actually meet Nelson or you just took his pictures? Or did you have an opportunity to talk to him?
Okay, so I had already photographed Nelson Mandela when he was first released from prison, and he came to Detroit, and I was selected to be in his motorcade. I didn't meet him, but I was able to document his visit to Detroit. Then in, I think it was 1997, I went to Bill Clinton's inauguration and I found out Nelson Mandela was there. I wanted to meet him. And someone said, "You can't get in the room." And I believed them. So I went back into Congressman Conyers' office, and one of his staff members said, "They told you you can't get in? You're Monica Morgan." I looked at him and said, "What does that mean?" He said, "You're Monica Morgan. I don't believe that you would take no for an answer." And so I took a pause and a breath and I said, "You're right." And I went back and I don't know what I said or what I did, but I got in the room with Nelson Mandela and I was able to take a photograph with him and talk to him. I do not know what he said to me. It was
Okay.
blurry. It was the focus was I was so nervous. It was like it's Nelson Mandela. Oh. So that was not my first, that was my first encounter. But then I did have a chance to see him during the first RA selections. I got in up close to him. I walked into a ritual with him. People thought I had an end to Nelson Mandela because of my photographs were appearing in the South African and other newspapers through the Associated Press Newswire, which I was a stringer for.
Mhm.
It was God. It was God. But talking to him, yes, there was an instance where a person from the White House in the U.S. had said to me, "You won't be able to talk to Nelson Mandela." He was being interviewed by Peter Jennings, and I looked at him and said, "You're not running anything over here. This is my home. This is my homeland." And I waited for Nelson Mandela to come out of the room with Peter Jennings, and he did. And I asked him to pose for me if he would take a photo, and he did.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. Because I was looking at your roster of some of the amazing people that you had an opportunity to photograph over the years. Now, it says that you photographed Barack. Now, that's everybody's homie. And so, how is it that you were able to photograph Barack Obama?
Well, I photographed him initially at Congressional Black Caucus before he ran for president.
Okay.
So that was the first time. And then when he was running, I had an opportunity to go to an interview that was being conducted. It was two of us, the journalist and myself. So I was, backstage in the back room with with Barack Obama. I was there when he was deemed to be the presidential nominee. I was there for his two swearing-ins. So
Wow,
I was
that's
there for the
amazing.
inauguration when he danced with Michelle and Jennifer Hudson sang, and another time when I think it was Beyonce sang at the first inauguration. It was a great journey to be able to document his being our historic first African American president.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's amazing. Just being able to be in a room with some of those people, Monica. Like, I know it had to be so inspiring. It's like, if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, maybe I need to do some more. It just totally motivates you to do more. But I'm gonna tell you, honey, everything that you have done and the things that you are going to do, because you're not done yet. The best of you is yet to come. And I am looking forward to seeing the things that is going to come out of you, that's going to come from you going forward in the future. Because if you started like this, oh my God, people better get out your way, honey, because Monica Morgan is here to stay.
Well, Erica, no one believes me when I say I'm an introvert, but I am an introvert. And so one of the things that I've started to pivot into is speaking. It's hard for me. I get nervous. No one, they say, "You're right." But I do get nervous. Even when I do my radio talk show, yes, I get nervous. I have to pray to God and say, "God, give me the strength to get through it," because I'm always nervous with it. But that's because I want to do and give my best to touch someone else, to make a difference in their life. When I share the stories of photographing historical figures or legends, it's not to brag. It's to say to a person, you can do whatever it is you set out to do. You just have to make a plan, stick with it, persevere. Don't allow anyone to tell you that you can't. So when I'm talking, I want my words to touch and transform other people. And that's what's
Absolutely.
most important to me. So I am
Absolutely.
a speaker, and Pam Perry would kill me if I didn't say I was a speaker, but I realized I did not tell you that when you asked me, "What's your title?" So that is something I'm pivoting into.
Yes. But you know what? And that's good that you're transparent and saying, like, I'm just starting out as a speaker. Now I do all these things, but I still get nervous too. And that is a message to other people, because individuals think that it's easy for us speakers to get on stage and speak. It is not. And I'll tell you, when I first started speaking, matter of fact, when I first started the podcast, Monica, I have a little southern accent and it comes out when I get excited. My homegirl accent comes out, and I speak Ebonic sometimes. It's just the way it is. And after every podcast, my mom will call me like, "I love you, but I just do not like the way that you speak." She was like, "And I don't like the way you laugh." Now, I'm not going to change the laugh, mama. However, I did take the time to hone in on my skills and get better. And it was through me actually watching myself on camera that I realized, like, yeah, my mom is right, And so because I'm trying to go to other levels, I'm trying to do what Monica Morgan do. I'm trying to go
But
to
there's
higher heights.
you being able to watch yourself, because I don't watch myself or listen to myself. It's like, oh no, I did that. I said that. I look like that. So there's power in that. And there's growth when you can look at yourself and
Yeah.
critique what you've done. And let me say this, Erica, I have a Southern accent too. I'm from Detroit, and I've been told I have a Southern accent. I don't know where it came from, except for me being from Southwest Detroit, out of driving 4th Street area. And sometimes perhaps that's what has given me this Southern accent that people say I have, but it is what it is.
Well, mine came from the summers that when I would go to St. Louis and stay for the summer. And then when I was about 13, I moved to St. Louis for a couple years. And so that's kind of how it got embedded in me. And when I get super excited, I can't turn it off. And so I have to like calm down so I can speak, normally. But I don't see anything wrong with it. But then again, like I said, when I see myself back on camera, I would have trouble like enunciating some of the words and things like that. And so it was just came with practice, getting better, not being nervous. I used to be so nervous, just like you. I would be so, and I've been behind this camera so many times, especially during the pandemic, right? Everything we did was behind the camera. All the TV interviews and everything we did was behind the camera. And I still get nervous, but I think now I kind of like my stomach kind of settles, but that don't have anything to do with when I get on stage. I don't know what the stomach is doing then.
I definitely understand.
Yeah. Now, I did have an opportunity to be on your radio show, and thank you for having me as a guest. I had a great time. I really enjoyed your radio show. And so for those who don't know how to find you on the radio, Monica, can you tell them how to find you on the radio?
I am on 910 AM Superstation. You can find me on the iHeart app, on your AM dial if you're in the Detroit metro area, or you can go to the website www.910amsuperstation.com, and there's also an app. So there are all kind of ways, or on my Facebook Live on Saturdays 4 to 6 Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, awesome. I'm telling you, Monica. So when I had an opportunity to read through your bio, there's a couple of things that stood out to me. Um, Coleman Young. Now, I've heard so many stories about Coleman Young over the years that he just didn't play. My mother and them always used to say when Coleman Young ran the city, nobody was going to bulldog Coleman Young. And so other mayors that came in after Coleman Young, they just weren't the same as him. Can you share a story with you and Coleman Young or opportunity that you had when you photographed him?
I was actually a photographer for the city. I had a contract. So I was Coleman Young's photographer along with Kwabena Shabu. And so I was able to go to a lot of events with him. But prior to that, when I was first entering the scene as a columnist with the Michigan Chronicle, I had the opportunity to go to an event that was at Manugian Mansion. So I didn't have an invitation, but I was going to get into that event. I was trying to crash. And when I got to the door, they said, "Are you on the list?" I said, no, I'm not on the list. And I said, "But I'm sure I'm welcome." I was so nervous. And Bob Berg was Coleman Young's PR person. And they went over to him to ask him if I was okay. But they let me go through to Bob. And as I went through to Bob, my earring fell. And the mayor stopped and picked it up and handed it to me. And I looked at security like, "See, I'm good. I'm good." But Bob let me stay. So that was just one of many events that I was able to go to at Manugian Mansion. He was so down to earth, but he didn't play. I would watch him and how he handled reporters. He didn't mince his words at all. He didn't mix them. He said what he had to say, and I loved it. People respected him for that, and I respect him for that. He was a good
Yeah.
person to me.
Yeah, that's good. And he is missed. He will definitely be missed. There will never be another Coleman A. Young, but people can strive to be the best them that they're going to be when they get in the and become mayor of Detroit, but there will never be another Coleman Young.
Very true.
Yeah. And so I'd like to know more about the woman beyond the photography, the woman behind photography. You have an awesome story as far as the struggles and things that you went through. I just like to know a little bit more about Monica. Can you share with the audience?
Monica is an introvert. I'm an only child. I love to read. I ballroom dance. I do water aerobics. But one of the things that I think a lot of people don't know, well, some people don't know about me, is that I love mentoring children and young people because I want all of our youth to know that their dreams can come true. The other night, I met a young lady who was taking photographs at an event, and I noticed that she needed some help. Well, I'm hesitant sometimes to just offer help because some people don't want it. You have to give people what they want. So I whispered a couple of tips in her ear and I said, I'm going to get out your way. I'm sorry. She said, no, please don't go. And so we started to work together and I watched her photos. They became amazing. And so she is going to be working with me, mentoring with me. She's in Chicago, but her mom's going to fly her in for an event that I'm covering next week, Men of Excellence. So there'll be 50 men of prominence being honored, as well as Dave Bing and some others. And I'm going to take that young lady into that setting and give her what was given to me by my mentor, Harold Robinson. He's not around anymore, and I can't give it back to him. So I want to keep it going by helping young people, anyone that wants to be a photographer or just wants some inspiration to run towards their dream and see that it can come true.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Because helping the generations beyond us is important because they used to say, like, I don't know, they call them Generation X, I believe, that they just didn't have the upbringing that our parents had or that we had. And so to not leave a young person behind and give her the same opportunity that was afforded to you, that's amazing, Monica. That shows that you have a kind heart and that you are here to change lives beyond your own, beyond the sound of your voice. But actually, like, a lot of people won't even get an opportunity such as that, because listening to you tell me about the opportunity, I'm like, dang, I wish I did photography. I want to be in the room. So, and so we have, Monica, everybody loves you because they're totally commenting in the comment section. We're going to address some of the comments. And if you guys have a question for Monica, put it in the comment section while we're going through it, and we're going to address your question as we go through the podcast. But Tease is here. And well, of course, Martha said hi to you. Tease is here. She wanted us to know that she's here. Hi, Teeza. Thank you for joining the podcast. So we have Clarence Mitchell. He's here. I got the comments popping up. And okay, here we go. So Clarence Mitchell says, hello, Erica, Monica Morgan. I'm looking forward to hearing this discussion.
Hey, Clarine.
Hi, Clarence. Thank you for joining the podcast. We have Dave.
That's actually Clarine Mitchell. She's been working with me on my LinkedIn profile.
Okay. Oh, it says Clarine. I'm sorry. Girl,
Clarine.
Clarine, I'm sorry. I got my contacts in. So look, I'm totally transparent. Deja, whoop whoop, back with another great show. She's so excited. Now, Deja is actually my daughter, but she is my part of my glam squad. She's my camera person, my light person. And what I love best about her is that after going out to live in Taiwan for the last 5-6 years, she speaks fluent Chinese, right? She's an excellent speaker, singer. So that's her voice that you hear on my new podcast intro. But I have to speak at a high school in Flint coming up in March, and I have to do 2 different speeches, one for 9th and 10th and one for 11th and 12th. And I said, hey, Deja, how would you like to do this speech with me? You know, perhaps I say some things in English, you come back in Chinese, but at the end of it, basically tell your story, because our goal is to motivate these young people. So what better way to do it than utilize a young person who has done it, seen it, and continuing to do it, but also include them in opportunities as well. So I'm like, kudos to you, Monica, for your mentor.
It's great that you're working with your daughter. I mean, not every child wants to work with their parents. So that says a lot about you as a mom and a lot about your daughter. It's great that she, obviously adores you. and wants to, help you with your dream, like you've helped her with hers.
Yes, I adore her as well. Deja, when you see this podcast playback, I adore you, sweetie. Man, I mean, Monica, they love the comments. It's so many comments, I can't even put them all up. They just still count. Yes, the women in the industry had it bad, especially trying to be behind the camera. Thank you for pushing through. So that's definitely motivation. Well, we get a sticker from Luther. And okay. So Clarine, act as if you belong. You know what? Because you said that too. And I did want to touch on that, Monica. Sometimes we can be our own worst critic, right? We can feel as if we don't belong there or we're too scared to go in that room. But really, they're just like you and I. You know, there are people just like you and I. And when you get in that room and you get to know them, you like, dang, I really do belong. And so they would never know that you don't belong. But if you act as if you belong or you saying you own it, you do. Can you touch on that a little bit more?
Well, that's been my mantra of acting like you belong. And that's gotten me into a lot of the places that I wasn't necessarily invited into, but I felt I belonged because I wanted to document the pre-VIP reception for Nelson Mandela's inauguration. I snuck into it, and I was able to get into it because I wasn't dressed like the other photographers. They were basically in jeans and t-shirts, and I was in a suit. So I fit in. I was able to melt in with the crowd, and I was able to see and talk with Bishop Tutu and Coretta Scott King and Martin Luther King III, and Yasser Arafat was there, and his wife Suha, and lots of other, Colin Powell, just lots of dignitaries. So it was amazing to be there. And I was a little nervous at first, but I walked in, acted like I belonged. And at one point, one of the security came over to me and said, "Are you with the press?" I said, "Excuse me, I am a guest." And looked at him, and I was so terrified. And I was able to get away with it. Did the same thing at some other events, just acting like I belonged and getting in. And then meeting people and being able to stay there. I walked on a field with Nelson Mandela when I first got into South Africa, into Johannesburg. And I walked in with this crowd of people. I got all these quick photographs of him performing a ritual. They realized they didn't know me and I didn't belong. And they moved me to another section, but I had gotten the photos that I wanted to get. And that was because I just walked in like I belonged. Now my heart was pounding, but I still did what it was that I set out to do.
Yeah. That, you know what, that is amazing because on so many levels people want to do things and you're afraid to do it. And I'll give you an example. When I wanted to become a speaker, I just said, okay, I'm gonna be a motivational speaker, right? I started my company, and the next day I just started telling people, I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a motivational speaker. I had never spoken on any stages. I just assumed that when I started telling people that I'm a motivational speaker, that my phone would start ringing. I got a 1-800 number and everything. It was like crickets. Not one person called me to book me for anything. So I was like, well, what am I going to do?
You
So
got to
what I
call
did,
Pam Perry. She could change all of that.
so what I did, Monica, was I created my own event called Motivating Into Your Purpose. And my girlfriend was working at this office building who had a great conference room, and I rented out the conference room, and we got food, and I had the nerve to sell my tickets for $150 for people who didn't even know me. But my friends and family and people that supported me, they came out, and that was my first opportunity of speaking on the stage. And was I nervous? Yes. Do I still get nervous? Yes. But I don't allow it to stop me. I get out there and I own it like I'm supposed to be there, right? And I'll be so nervous in the inside. And then after I'm done, people go, "Oh, you did so good. You did so good." I'm like, they don't even know I messed up like 20 times.
Erica,
And
you
then,
just motivated me. You've just motivated me because I am new. I mean, I've spoken in the past about photography, but I didn't know all that you got to do this, you got to do that. I just spoke.
yeah,
So I'm glad to hear that you created an event. You believe that people would show up, and they
yeah,
did. They supported you. And that's the thing. Most people out there are there and they're supportive.
yeah.
And we need to kind of own that and do more of it and just be like take a chance And that's what I've always done. I take a chance. I put it in God's hands. I'm like, God, if it's meant to be, get some people there. So
Yeah.
that right there has impressed me with having an event and just saying, I'm going to invite people.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I need to do that, but
Right. And listen, and we should do it together. We
hey,
should do it because
I'm ready.
I
I'm ready.
yeah, we should do it together. We'll talk after the podcast is over because I haven't put the event together for this year because I was up in the air because of COVID.
Mhm.
So I haven't done the event since COVID. However, I want to do it though. I want to, you know what I mean? Hopefully, because I usually do it every year in October. And so we can talk after the podcast. But Clarion had a question for you. She says, question for Monica. With you having a photography business, how did you keep things going through the pandemic?
Well, I pivoted by researching my files, pulling out my images, and I found a sponsor for 2 coffee table books. Now, I haven't completed them yet. Hope he's not listening. However, that was one of the things that I did. I started to speak more, to call people up and say, I have this photograph of you, that photograph of you. And I was able to, sell those images as well as I'm a Getty Images contributor. A lot of my photos are on Getty Images. And so those royalty checks came in. One of those checks was when at the end of the Aretha Franklin biopic, that was the one with Jennifer Hudson in it. My photograph was at the end credits of Aretha laying on Smokey Robinson's shoulder. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's how I kept it going, being creative and knowing that God was not going to let me fail.
Now that's great. So that she's showing you and by her own life that the pandemic only stopped the people who allowed the pandemic to stop them. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Because as I did like Monica and many others, when the pandemic hit, I was like, how can I make my business better? I found Pam Perry because she was sending emails and I had been doing my research on her for about a year. But at the time, I couldn't afford her services. And when my money got right, I said, let me get Pam together. And it was so funny because I said, well, Pam, I'm a speaker. I do this, I do that. Can I hire you as my publicist? And in a nice way, I say it in the Erica way, but she said it in a nicer way than this. She was like, I can't even take you on as a client because you're not ready yet. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she explained it to me. So I spent the beginning part of the pandemic redeveloping my systems, my software, learning what to do, what not to do. Taking classes, learning how to appear on camera. And so everything that happened during the pandemic made me better at where I am now and what I'm about to do going forward.
It
And
allowed us time to slow down and
yeah,
get it together. So I'm working on my platform. I've just graduated Pam's branding and acceleration program. I'm excited about it. I'm still a work in progress. I have a lot to do, but I am ready to speak on those stages. And I'm going to do like you did, Erica. I'm going to say, hey, look, I'm doing this. Come on out and support me. And I believe
absolutely.
that it'll happen. I do believe that.
Absolutely.
And thank you for that inspiration. I look forward to us doing something together as well.
Yes, yes, it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful. And so Martha, she says that you're amazing, Monica. Martha, I feel the same way.
Martha.
And so we have Judge Lloyd. Monica,
We just graduated together. She was in my class. Thank you, Judge. And she is a phenomenal judge who's written this wonderful book. She speaks as well. We are all in this together, growing, getting better. And I just was honored to have her in the same class that I was in.
hi, Judge Lloyd. How are you? I've been seeing your pictures floating around and your information going through. And so we're going to have you as a guest on Erica Lynn Speaks podcast as well. I just want to make sure that because each month is a theme. So I want to make sure that her topic flows right in with the theme and you can just be as authentic as you want to on this podcast. I love it. And Teaser says she was there. I believe she put that comment when you were talking about the inaugural ball or something in particular. But hi, Teaser. In one of her comments earlier, she says she know you and she know me. I love Teaser. When I first started, she actually Teaser was my Toastmasters she was like the head of the Toastmasters that I went to in Clinton Township. And so Tisa got me together. So she also helped me speak better than I did. But she accepted the way I was, but honed in my skills. Because when I first got started, I started researching like speaking organizations and groups to help better your skills. And at the time, they were like 5,000, 10,000, and I was like, I don't have that kind of money right now. And so when my daughter was in Taiwan, I said, I'm a motivational speaker, Deja, now, and I want to do this, but I need an organization. And she was at work one night in Taiwan, and she called me and she says, I met this couple last night. They said, tell your mom to join this group. And she sent me the information. And then I looked and it said it was affordable. I was like, I'm joining. I called the next day. And so I've learned a lot from Toastmasters. So for those of you all who cannot afford the high price speaking classes and organizations, Toastmasters is there and it will get you started.
Yes, Tisa has helped me a lot with District 28 and Toastmasters, and I'm active in Toastmasters. I'm in 3 clubs, and that's the good thing about it. You can join as many clubs as you want, and now because it's virtual, you can join clubs all over the world, and it gives you a great opportunity to grow and learn how to speak better. I attended my Innovative Orators Club meeting today and gave a speech, impromptu 5 to 7 minute speech, and it just helps me. And next week I'll be attending my secondary to none, and on Friday my articulators, A+ articulators. So they all help me. They encourage me, evaluate me, and compel me to grow.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, the challenging part was like saying or so, because a lot of us use that a lot. But then when you actually get it out of your vocabulary, you actually can have a great conversation without using those words, because when you realize that they're fillers, and what that means is you're thinking about what you're going to say next. When you already know what you're going to say in the speech, for example, you can take those fillers out, and it does definitely make your speech a lot better when you go back and listen to yourself. Like, I said 27 times. I said so 32. And it used to make me so mad when they told me at the end of my speech in Toastmaster, but then I can appreciate it now
That's
on the
how you
level that I
grow. That's how you grow. They bring it to your attention. There's an eye counter who's letting you know how many filler words you're using. And I learned through Toastmasters to just pause. Instead of saying, like, blah, blah, just pause.
yeah.
And it gives you a second to get your thoughts together.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress for me, but I can attribute my growth in it to Toastmasters.
Yeah. Teaser says she was there for my presentation. That's right. And then when I started leveling up and was being asked to speak at different events, I still worked the 9 to 5, right? So I would go and look, I did it now. But I would say, Teaser, can you help me rehearse? So she would come over to my job and I would take a 1 hour lunch break and we'll be out at the picnic table and she would be helping me go over my speech. And I'm so thankful for that. Or whenever I had an event. So you and I do an event, Tisa will be there. She be right there working that front table. She making sure that you get in, that you have everything that you need. She help runs the events. And so she's a good woman to have on your team, Monica, when you
I agree.
if you ever need her. Yes. And so this have been a phenomenal podcast interview. I've learned so much for you. um I have a lot of strength walking away from this podcast today, because you have shown me and the viewers that people can't tell you no, or you don't have to accept no because they tell you no. You can push past that. And I appreciate your strength, your love for what you do, to be able to push past it, and to help many others that you push past. I would love for you to give my audience a word of encouragement, or a something that they can walk away and say that Monica told me this. I know I can do this. I feel this in my heart and my bones. I got this.
So I always believe in positive affirmations. Oftentimes we go through life and things happen, and there was a saying that Willie Jolly has put into play, and it's if you can look up, you can get up. So if you feel knocked down, if you're not where you want to be, perhaps a word could be unstoppable. And if you're unstoppable, people can't get in the way. You can keep going with that. And I don't say it as if it's easy. No, it's not. Life is not easy. But keep going. God has you. Keep in your mind, I'm unstoppable. Nothing's going to get in my way. And if you believe that and keep putting that into the universe, it can come true.
Wow, that is so true. That is so true. And so I think the thing that I always like to tell people who is trying to grow in their profession or their love or their career, they may still be working a 9 to 5. It does not make you a failure. It does not make you a quitter. It does not make you less than because you're still working a 9 to 5. I had the opportunity to really do my research on Damon John, the owner or creator of Fubu. And Damon John still worked at a restaurant while he was running Fubu. So Fubu was $1 million company and he was still working at the restaurant.
Wow.
And you say, well, why? So I've learned that although his company was worth $1 million, he was not paying himself salary. Maybe he was paying his staff and his employees, but it was not enough to sustain his lifestyle. So he let the company run and all the key players in the company, but he still worked his job and he used that money to sustain his personal lifestyle with his wife, his kids, and most importantly, insurance. And so if he can do that and still be where he is today, many of you can do the same. So I don't want people to think that because you're working a 9 to 5, that you can't grow your passion and your love.
Right.
That just means that you have to work a little harder. You have to do, you got to go above and beyond what another person would have to do. You know, just like Monica had to go above and beyond, pushing past, telling security, get out my way, I'm here. Right. And I know that was scary for you, but in spite of, can you tell us what we're going to expect or see in the near future from Monica Morgan?
I am busy putting my photography classes together, working on my coffee table book, building my speaking business. And so, more events, joint ventures. I love joint ventures. We all have different talents and abilities. Let's put them together and merge our networks and grow. That's what it's all about. It's just sticking together, having people who believe in you and growing. So my classes, I'm working on something new. Pam Perry told me that my focus should be one of the things that I've always done, but didn't realize is my gift. And that's showing people how to show up brand spectacular, ready for their close up, be it for video or be it for photography. And then to help photographers grow and make money, be it their side hustle or their main hustle. So those are some of the things I'm going to be doing: training, events, more brand photographies. I got a lot of assignments lined up, events as well as just one-on-one. I got a call today about photographing someone who's running for Congress, doing their brand images, some realtors, their brand images. And I just want to keep that going because that's when I feel my best, when I bring out that camera, which is my superpower, and I'm able to make people feel good about the gift that God has given.
Wow, that's amazing. Look, you getting me all excited about my photo shoot. I haven't even booked yet, but I'm out there.
Nedra and I discussed that, Erica. I'm ready for you.
Okay. See, what people don't know, because they can see me a little, but not much because I don't stand up on camera. I have been working diligently in the gym, diligently. And I fell off, I got back on. I fell off, I got back on. I fell off, I got back on. But this time, I don't know what happened, but it actually stuck. So sometimes you could try things and it just don't stick in your routine, it don't stick in your brain, and you kind of still have self-doubt. But this time I'm on it. And to see my results, I'm like, oh my God. So I won't put photos on Facebook yet or anything because I want to do, the big reveal. Once I get to the desired weight that I'm going to, then that's photographs that you're going to do for me. And so it would be my 2022 photo shoot for my birthday. So I'm going to do a birthday photo shoot with you so that we can have Monica Morgan bring Erica Lynn Speaks to life.
Well, Erica, let me just say this to you, that I specialize in bringing out the best in you. It doesn't matter what size you are. I'm going to make you look good, because if you look bad, I'm going to look bad, and I am not going to look bad. Your image will speak for me when I can't speak, because when they ask you who took the photograph and you say my name, it's got to look good. So, you don't have to wait until you're at the right weight, because I know how to get the right angles and the right lighting, because I've been there and I'm there. I'm working on my way. So I know what you're talking about, but we're always working on getting better and perfect.
Mhm.
Perfect is not necessary in
Right.
this world. Let's just be the best we can be. The smile starts on the inside and comes out on the outside. And that's what I look forward in capturing with you. When I saw some of your images, and I didn't know you one on one, but I
Mhm.
saw your photos and I saw that genuine smile, I said, she's someone that I'd love to get to know, because your photos compelled me to want to meet you. And that's what an image should do.
All right now. Thank you. All right. When we were setting up the cameras today and she come in and she set the cameras up, I was like, I have I'm elated the way that I look on camera now opposed to before, because I have been doing the work, and you do notice the difference, like when your face begins to slim out, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to do my photo shoot this year. And so I know I'm not going for perfection. I'm going for what's perfect for me. And so I don't care if I was like, bigger than I am now, then I would still love who I am. But it's something that I've been working on for so long, and when I reveal it, I just want to reveal it the right way.
I'm excited then. Okay. I can't wait for the reveal, and I want to be able to capture you and bring out everything that you want that reveal to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's wonderful, Monica. I thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We can be here all night, but I know people got to go to bed and go to work or cook dinner for their kids, whatever you guys have to do. But I thank you so much for being on the podcast. So you have told them before, but I want you to tell them how they can reach you, where they can find you at.
My website is Monica at MonicaMorganPhotography.com. Also, Monica at MonicaSpeaks.com. That website is being worked on right now by Allison Kerr. She is getting my website where I want it to be. So just give it a few days for it to update. Monica Morgan Speaks. But there's Monica Morgan Photography, and I'm on all social media, not active on Twitter, not as active on Instagram. Getting more active thanks to Clarine on LinkedIn, and more active on Facebook as well. So you can find me on social media, and I do respond to emails. I respond to direct messages, all of that.
Wow. Well, that's awesome, Monica. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I know you have been a blessing and have helped somebody listen to the sound of your voice, and by just sharing your story, because now people know if Monica could do it, I could do it. Like, that's going to be my mantra. If Monica can do it, I can do it.
I love it.
And you know what, Monica, what makes me feel good knowing that someone of your stature experiences the same thing that I experienced when it comes to speaking, when first starting out, because it can be challenging and nervous, you being nervous and stumble on your words a little bit, but then just knowing that someone as successful as you get nervous too, but through hard work, you get past that.
Mhm. Persistence pays off. Yes.
So do you have any last words before I let you go?
I just want everyone out there to know that no dream is impossible. There are lots of people who failed in life that are billionaires and are legends and icons. The Oprahs of the world who was told television wasn't a good fit for her. Diana Ross, who was told she wasn't a great singer. Thomas Edison, who failed 10,000 times. Elvis Presley, who was told he wasn't that good. You have to believe. You have to believe. Remember, you're unstoppable. Run towards your dream and it can come true.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Monica, for being on Erica Lynn Speaks podcast. And I can't wait to have you back on the show once your book is ready to come out or you have something exciting to share with the audience. This is always a home and platform for you.
Thank you. Thank you
And
so
we-
much. And for the inspiration, because you and your listeners have inspired me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I will see you soon. And we definitely have to connect about creating an event so that the listeners, the viewers, everyone can see Monica and myself get on stage and lay it down. We
Can't
got to lay it. Well, I'll talk to you soon. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you as well. Bye, everyone.
Well, you guys have heard it from the professional herself. You are unstoppable. Do not let anyone tell you that you can't do something when you can. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you, right? And so whatever it is that you want to do, if you want to start that business, if you want to become a singer, if you want to become a photojournalist and take the best photos like Monica Morgan, if you want to be a speaker, whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. And when you begin doing it, when you take your first step, just know that you are unstoppable. And if you need some support, you could just call me or Monica. We got you. We got you. So I am so excited that you guys were here to witness and enjoy this wonderful woman such as I did. I hope y'all enjoyed her just as much as I did because I really, really love. She got a new friend for life. And so I'm excited. So I love you guys. So make sure that you tune into the podcast. We're live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on Erica Lynn Speaks. We're on Facebook and we're on YouTube. So if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, Erica Lynn Speaks on YouTube, do so now. If you have not followed us on Facebook, Erica Lynn Speaks, do so now. We are here and I'm excited and I will see you guys next week. And always remember to take one step beyond you. God bless you, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday. This podcast was brought to you by EricaLynnSpeaks.com. Sign up for your free consultation today at EricaLynnSpeaks.com/work with me. And just remember, it only takes just one step beyond
beyond you. I say Erica Lynn Speaks.